Fee, fi, fo, fum. I saw a movie that's really dumb. Huh? Yeah, so, these are my thoughts on Johnny the Giant Killer, a 1950s French film, that was, apparently redubbed into English in, 1984. So yeah, I got quite a bit to say about this one. Yeah, so, okay. Sorry, I grabbing my handkerchief, because I know I'm gonna cough multiple times. Alright, so. Yep, and that about sums it up. No. Okay, so first of all, the animation is quite bad. It's not like the worst I've ever seen, but it's bad. There are a lot of, like, little animation errors. There were, like, characters, like, disappearing from the frame, and there were, like, there was this part where, it shows, like, this, bug-themed carnival, and, there's this part where it shows, like, a bunch of bumper cars, and, like, some of them will pass behind, like, this, pillar in the middle. I think it was, like, a mushroom, so, like, they pass behind, the, what do you call it, the trunk. That's what you call it on a tree. I don't know if that's what you call it on a mushroom, but yeah, then they'll just magically appear into frame over the thing, and so yeah, instead of having them, like, enter the frame from behind the mushroom, they, like, just pop into frame so that they don't have to, like, block it off with the scenery. So yeah, that's very lazy. God, how many lazy animation goofs were there? Super choppy. I have to get the cough drop. Yeah, and there was, like, all these repeated animations, so many all over the place. And yeah, the animation was bad. Let's see, okay, what should I talk about next? The story was, unfocused. So basically it's about this, kid who, he, like, leads this group of, Boy Scouts or something. Like, he has all these, friends, and he leads them to this castle where this, giant lives. So yeah, he kind of leads his friends into trouble. And then the friends get captured by the giant. He's shrunk down. And yeah, he has to get saved by, like, this bird carries the cage he's in away. Although for a moment I didn't even notice that the cage was being carried away. And yeah, we spend, like, a whole lot of time in this, bug world. And yeah, like, we don't get back to the conflict with the giant until, like, the very end of the movie. Like, okay, so while this kid Johnny is exploring the bug world, he comes across this spider, this little cave where a spider lives, and then spider tries to eat him or something, and then apparently these bees save him from the spider, and then they decide that because because they saved him from the spider, they decide they like him for some reason. It would make more sense if he saved them, or maybe I heard something wrong, but another problem is, like, this is another movie where they just seem to cut out a lot of moments. Like, it is, like, the video I watched was shorter than the Wikipedia page said it was, so they probably cut quite a few things out. So yeah, there were a lot of non-transitions where they, like, suddenly cut from one scene to another. So yeah, the bees show him around this hive, and then they take him to the queen, and then the queen just wastes no time. She's, like, in love with the kid, and the kid loves her back. They just hit it off immediately. She, like, right off the bat seems to want him to be the king. She gives him, like, this needle that, is supposed to be used as a sword. And then there's these other bees, like these guards or something, that, like, want to overthrow the queen. And, yeah, the kid has to get into a sword fight with one of them, who uses, like, a stinger as a sword. Hold on a second. Yeah, I got a cough drop in my mouth. So, yeah, the queen finds out that the guard was trying to overthrow her, or, that he attacked Johnny, so she has him arrested, or she has him thrown out of the kingdom, and then he, like, comes across these pirate bees or something, the evil bee guard thing. And yeah, then there's, like, this long, drawn-out segment where, like, they watch, like, first they watch all these bugs performing this song, and then we have, like, an even more drawn-out scene where we see, like, a bug carnival where the bumper car thing happens. And yeah, it's so drawn out, and we're watching Johnny dancing with the queen, and, like, at one point she's like, "Please, call me Queenie." It's just so weird. Like, we have, like, a 10-year-old boy hitting it off with this, hitting it off with a bee, a queen bee no less, and she sounds like she's an adult. Her voice sounds quite adult, I don't know, but yeah, very weird romantic subplot, if you will. But yeah, while they're dancing, the evil bee guard suddenly attacks. Alright, so another thing about this movie is that it's pretty violent. Like, we see, like, these bee guards get, like, impaled by, like, stinger swords, and then, well, Johnny takes on a whole bunch of them at once. Like, out of nowhere, the kid is just good with a sword, even though it's not a sword, it's a needle. But yeah, suddenly he's a good fencer, suddenly. And then he fights the pirate bees, and then he fights then the corrupt guard bee is, like, he sits on the throne, he's crowned the new king, and then he tries to kill the queen, but then Johnny stops him, and he's defeated. And along the way there are some bugs who get, like, cut into pieces, and then I saw one who got his head cut off. And there's no blood, but it's like, wow, this is pretty graphic violence for a kid's movie. At least I assume this is a kid's movie. It comes off as such. Yeah, and then after all that is over, like Johnny is becomes a hero to the beehive, and then after that, like just then he finally remembers my friends are all captured by the giant, and yeah, like he was wasting time like dancing with the queen, partying at this carnival and all that crap. And just now he finally remembers what is going on with his friends. You know, his friends are in trouble. So yeah, the bees decide to go save his friend, or yeah, all the bugs go to save his friends, and he, of course, he's fighting with them, but and yeah, I guess lucky it wasn't until then that the giant decided to eat the friends, and yeah, and then all these bugs come in and attack him, and then like this one like beetle or something, it uses its pincers and cuts off the top, like the tip of the giant's ear, and you see like the bone and all the red stuff surrounding it. Yeah, that was pretty graphic, and yeah, thankfully you only see it for like a brief moment, but yeah, it's pretty crazy. So yeah, this is I just have so much to make fun of. But yeah, they defeat the giant. They shrink him till he's small. Johnny is grown back to normal size along with his friends. And they all walk away happily while carrying the tiny giant character in a cage. So there is like one thing I'll praise about this movie is that like there's this very creative world. Like the giant's castle is like filled with all these unique contraptions, and this wouldn't be quite as unique if it was made later. Like you see stuff like this in like 1970s animated movies all the time, but yeah, for 1950 it was a pretty creative world they created. The giant's castle was interesting. It had a bunch of unique contraptions, like these tiles that go up to the ceiling and like try to crush you, and yeah, there's this pretty creative scene with these tiles. And then the giant's machine that like shrinks things, and apparently his boots make them grow again. Like Johnny and his friends jump into his boots to grow back to normal size. The machine makes everything smaller, and it's pretty creative. And then the whole bug world and the beehive, they're very creative settings. And honestly, this movie was entertaining. So I'm just gonna. I'm trying to remember if there's anything else, because there's quite a few things in this movie that's worth making fun of. There might have been something I forgot. If there is, I'll probably write a comment about it. But yeah, I think I got all the big stuff out of the way. Crappy animation, lots of violence, kid hitting on Queen Bee. Unfocused story. So yeah, this one was fascinating, and this is probably the most incompetently made movie I have reviewed so far, and honestly, I love it all the more for it. it's consistently entertaining all throughout. I mean, there might be a couple slow moments, but aside from that, it's entertaining to watch. And even like the stuff that's wrong with it kind of just add to the cheesy entertainment value. So yeah, I would actually recommend this movie. It is a bad movie, but I'd recommend it. It's one of those so bad it's good type of movies. So yeah, my rating, like, I think this is something I probably should have done with Momotaro's Divine Sea Warriors. Like, that movie probably would be, if I were to give it... Okay, so I did a proper review of, or when I did the review of it, I gave it a 5 out of 10, mostly for how fascinatingly bad it was. And I think there's some comparisons to be made between that movie and this movie. So Johnny the Giant Killer, I would say in terms of quality, it gets a 2 out of 10. 2 means terrible. I guess I could give it a 3, but I think 2 just sounds a little more appropriate. Like, in terms of quality, it is terrible. 3 is bad, but yeah, 2 equals terrible. And since I haven't established what 1 equals yet, 1 means abysmal. So yeah, that's probably a rating I will save for movies like the Emoji Movie and Norm of the North and all that crap. But yeah, I'd say quality-wise, this movie gets a 2 for terrible. Entertainment-wise, it gets an 8 for great. Because I love how terrible it is. And yeah, so I'd say the compromise is 5, which equals average. But yeah, kind of complicated to explain, but yeah, that's why I'd give it. So compared with Momotaro's Divine Sea Warriors, I'd probably give it a 3 for quality, and for entertainment, I'd probably give it like a 7. It's most, like, yeah, so quality-wise, it's not as bad as this one. But yeah, it still gets pretty boring at parts. It's still fascinating to watch, but not quite as much as this one was. So, so yeah, a little better in quality, not quite as entertaining. Still ends up with the same rating, overall 5. But yeah. But yeah, I would actually recommend this movie. It is a deliciously bad movie. It's just entertaining with how bad it is. It's not like The Room or Troll 2, but it's still its own unique brand of so bad it's good. So yeah, you could probably look it up on YouTube, or yeah, I just watched it off of YouTube, so feel free to look it up, watch the English version, or you could look for the French dub, but that one probably wouldn't be as entertaining, obviously. So yeah, this is there anything else to say about this movie? Because, like, well, okay, so if I do have anything else to say about it, I'll write a comment on this video, but for now, I guess I've said everything that there is to be said. So, Mash it and smash it, signing off.